That's me when I was 14. When I was 14, I had a really big crush on this guy, like a massive crush. He was like my best friend. He was a rebel and a rule breaker, and I wouldn't shut up about him. Yet my crush was Jesus Christ, our Lord. I really loved him, like hashtag JC is well fit, hashtag gotta love a beard, hashtag hot prophet. Oh. Every Sunday I would go to church and I would learn about this amazing guy and how I could be more like him, how to live a full and meaningful life. And I loved church. I loved church. I loved this place that was full of people that cared about me, that were nice and kind and supportive. These people that supported me, who understood me, who lived a life like me. We had shared values. They loved me even when I was annoying, and I loved them even when they were annoying. Church allowed me to be a part of something bigger than myself, to be a part of a community. Jesus loves me, this I know, for the Bible tells me so. And I read it every day. Or at least I try to, but some of it's pretty heavy going. But then, when I was about 17, I stopped sort of feeling it with Jesus. You know, like suddenly we weren't getting on so well anymore. Like whenever I pray, it felt like no one was really there. We weren't really talking as much. And then suddenly I started to question what I'd believed all my life. Suddenly the thing that I'd believed to be 100% true wasn't such a sure thing. And the doubts got bigger, and the gap got wider. And soon I felt like I couldn't really go to church anymore because I didn't really believe in God or really understand what God was. And so I stopped reading the Bible, and I didn't know if Jesus loved me because I didn't know if Jesus was real. And so I left my church, and I left my happy enclave, and I stopped singing the praises of the Lord. And I was sad, and I was lonely. I tried to find another church over the next couple of years, different churches, hoping that Jesus maybe had just escaped me in that one building. But as I was there, I sat at the back feeling like a fraud. The words when I tried to speak the Lord's Prayer wouldn't come out of my mouth. And when I took communion, I just didn't really want that free wine. And as a British person, you know it's over if you don't want free booze. It was difficult. I tried to find a space, but there didn't seem to be a space for people who didn't believe in God, but did want to work in the community, did want to live a full and happy life, did want to be a part of something bigger than themselves. I tried atheist meetups, but a lot of them seemed to be about campaigning against religion and finding ways to mock religious people. And having been mocked a lot when I was religious, oh, here comes Mary Magdalene again. And also not being quite sure where I felt with the whole God thing. It wasn't really a space for me. Why isn't there a sort of church for people who do not believe in God? I lamented. And then I went to university, and then I went to start working, and then I stopped celebrating life, and I just started getting on with it. Fast forward 13 years, and I'm now a full-time comedian and improviser. It's 2012, and I'm driving down the M4 on my way to a comedy gig, and in the passenger seat of my car is fellow comedian Sanderson Jones. Sanderson is like a big, beardy sunshine. He really looked like someone, but I couldn't quite figure out who. But then I realized it was Barry Gibb. I started telling Sanderson about my wedding. I'd recently got married, and my mum was really keen on us having a church wedding because, although not exclusively for this reason, she wanted to, and I quote, wear a big hat. My husband and I wanted a more secular arrangement, so we were trying to find a way that we could balance tradition and ritual, but also without the religious bits. We'd been to quite a few non-religious weddings, but they'd been quite stark, sort of so ripped out of ritual that it was less an important milestone in your life, more a witnessing of a pen scratching on paper. So we got married in Wilton's Old Time Music Hall, which is a building in East London that is steeped in history. My friends improvised a choral piece as I walked down the aisle, arm in arm with my dad. We shared our vows in front of friends and family, and instead of a hymn, we sang When I'm 64. And everybody sang along. It felt traditional but modern, new but old, secular but rich in ritual. And my mum got to wear her hat. Sanderson was very excited about this, and he said that he had the same feeling about carol concerts, how much he loved them, but as a committed atheist, he couldn't get along with the central story. But what he could get along with was a celebration of family, a time for thankfulness, and reflecting on a year that has passed. And then, we don't really know how this bit went, but one of us said to each other, I've always wondered if you could do church without the God bit. And the other one said, so have I. And so we decided to give it a go. As we drove up to the Comedia Comedy Club in Bath, we decided to attempt to create church without God. How hard could it be? The answer is really frickin' hard, yeah? Especially when you're two comedians who do not know what they are doing. It turns out it takes a lot of time and energy and effort to even begin to dissect what humans need and what we can learn from what has gone before. And so we decided to go with what we did know. So we combined our comedy knowledge with my church knowledge, and we created an order of service, or set list, if you will. Instead of hymns, we had pop songs. Instead of a sermon, we had a speaker. Instead of a reading, we had a poem. And instead of prayer, we decided to have a silent moment of reflection. We decided to call it Sunday Assembly. And together we came up with a motto: live better, help often, or wonder more. That is, look to your insides, look at the needs around you, be inspired by the world. We found a venue, a deconsecrated church in North London. Seemed like an appropriate place to have it. I was a bit worried it was a bit big, but Sanderson reassured me that we'd definitely be able to fill it. We booked a speaker, we found a band, we sent out a press release. Suddenly Sanderson was a bit nervous that maybe we couldn't fill it, so I reassured him that we definitely could. We alternated between the doubter and the encourager. On the 3rd of January 2013, we had our first Sunday Assembly, and over 200 people turned up. It was amazing. We sang Bon Jovi and Queen. Our speaker spoke about how important stories are to humans, and loads of people stayed behind after to drink tea and also to offer their help. We'd hit on something that rang true for a lot of people of no fixed belief. It went viral before we'd even closed the doors. The stories went around the internet, and we were dubbed the Atheist Church. We started receiving emails from people all over the world as well. Some telling us we were going to hell, but most of them telling us that this was exactly what they'd been looking for their entire lives. What we'd hit upon was a space that was non-religious, not anti-religious. According to a recent study by the National Centre for Social Research, over 50% of the UK now identify as non-religious. And according to Pew Research, about a fifth of Americans also fall into this category. And so what we'd done unknowingly was created a space for these people. Sunday Assembly turns 5 years old in January, and we now boast a global network of around 70 Sunday Assemblies across the world, from LA to Edinburgh, from Manchester to London, from Utrecht to Canberra. That was a strange reference, you're right. These people meet, over 5,000 people meet every month in the name of non-religious community. It's been a mad journey, but we've had highs and lows and everything in between. But we're not the only people doing this. Sunday Assembly isn't the only way of creating a non-religious congregation. There's lots of people, as we've discovered on our journey, doing this around the world. Places like Oasis in Houston, which is a secular congregation very similar to Sunday Assembly. The Harvard Divinity School now hosts a humanist hub, which is led by Greg Epstein, where they, among other things, lead young people from the Boston area in a sort of mix between a bar mitzvah and a Sunday school, but without the religious bits. Andy Pakula is an atheist minister who works with New Unity, which is a church in North London, where the congregation, a lot of them don't believe in God, but they do believe in good. Casper to Kyle. Oh, and we've had a protester. I forgot to mention that. This is our protester. Just one, because obviously when you think about it, there's not really anything to protest. And he can't have been that angry because he let Sanderson have his picture taken with him. Yes, so Casper to Kyle and Angie Thurston say in their paper, How We Gather, the lack of deep community is indeed keenly felt. Suicide is the third leading cause of death among youth. Rates of isolation, loneliness, and depression continue to rise. As traditional religion struggles to attract young people, millennials are looking elsewhere with increasing urgency. And in some cases, they're creating what they don't find. We have countless testimonials of people who've come to Sunday Assembly and said that without it, they wouldn't have had space to grow. I've seen people with crippling anxiety go from hiding at the back of the hall to addressing a 400-strong crowd. I've talked to people who've had to leave their family home because they dared to question the belief system that they were brought up in, who came to Sunday Assembly and found solace there because we told them not whether there was a God or not, but that they were a valuable person, that they had something to contribute. We have couples who come who are both of a different faith, who find that Sunday Assembly is a space that they can both enjoy because the Sunday Assembly experience sits alongside their faith rather than forcing them to renounce it. I've met people so lonely that they considered ending their own life, but they found Sunday Assembly and they found community, they found purpose, they found a space. In a 2012 study, Cockshaw and Choquette demonstrated a link between belongingness and depression, where belongingness was shown to have strong additive links to depressive symptoms. In other words, if you feel like you belong somewhere, you feel less sad. If everyone who felt like they had nowhere to go found that they did have somewhere to go, somewhere like a Sunday Assembly, a place that allowed them to be a part of something bigger than themselves, that encouraged them to live better, help often, and wonder more, that couldn't be anything other than a good thing, could it? I'm glad I had that crush on Jesus. #nicelam. Because it allowed me to enjoy community, to experience the good that can come from it, but also the loneliness that comes from not having it, from losing it. And it was that experience that led me to realize we need to create alternative spaces so that people don't have to experience that loneliness or can at least have a respite from it. We need to create spaces, new spaces, in between spaces. There is a space for us. We just have to build it. Thank you.